Hey, what's up, Cole? This is a demo video for you for the Solo 3. This is the third saber that I've machined by hand, hence the name Solo 3. That's kind of what I'm doing for the nomenclature. You had commissioned me to do something cool for you. You gave me total freedom to do whatever I wanted to do, right? So um, this is a pretty big boy because I wanted to shove a whole lot of things in it. It does have a dual crystal reveal. So of course you got that top one right there. I used up here the cloudy double, it's a double pointed quartz that I like to use in a lot of my builds. But moving down here to the secondary crystal chamber in the handle, I went with a more natural quartz. So you'll see that better when it lights up. Put this has a leather wrap. I tried my hand at some baseball stitching. Um, it feels good though. It does have a brass pommel because there was so much stuff going on up here. It made it kind of heavy, but then with the brass pommel, it kind of evened out the weight, you know. So, I mean, the balance point is somewhere in the vicinity of right here, right? So right there in front of the wrap. Install the Proffie. There's just a few things on here that I didn't make, right? I didn't make the knurled knob, obviously. This is going to be your blade retention. You've got a Carl Chen PCB in there. This is a one replicas control box, so that's what I used here. Your bottom switch is your power, your top switch is your auxiliary. And then I did design the crystal chambers, but then I sent them out to Craft Cloud to get printed. As you know, these have been quite the journey to get because the first set that I got, I accidentally had them shipped to my old address in Boise, Idaho. So those were lost. And then I had to order them again. And then these got stuck in customs forever. But finally they got here yesterday. So I went ahead and I wrapped up the Saber. All right. Everything else I machined though. I took this is a shroud. I'm sorry, I did not machine the shroud. I forgot where this came from, origin, I think. But I etched it. I etched the brass sleeve that I made for this in the same way that I etched the shroud. So what you want to do is just come over here and unscrew the handle. Although the brass pummel used to screw on and screw off, I went ahead and just adhesed that down so it doesn't move. There's really no need to ever take that off. So it stays on there just like that. So you got that cut out in the handle for your crystal chamber. And then this is the brass sleeve that I made for it. And it's etched as in the same design as the shroud. You've got a cutout there for your crystal chamber. You've got a secondary cutout over here for the kill switch. And the kill switch may not be very easy to see on camera, but it's right there. It's very easy to come over here with your finger and flip. All right. I say it's easy with my finger. You probably want to use a tool. So not easy with your finger. Use some tweezers or something like that. But you can come over here and flip it on and flip it off quite easy from right there. All right. Additionally, I drilled out some holes in the sleeve for some blinkies. So this chassis has a total of 40 Neopixel accents in it. You have 20 Neopixel accents over here. And then when you turn it around, you have another 20 Neopixel accents right there. All right, so a total of 40 in the chassis. To get to the chassis, of course, you're going to want to unscrew the brass sleeve. The threading on this was so thin, I probably didn't have any business threading it. I probably should have done something where it just slipped on and then locked it in with a set screw. But I really am trying to thread all of my attachments when I'm making sabers. I think it's just better that way. A little bit better craftsmanship, and then it gives me practice for threading. So I did thread it. If you can look there, 2 different steps for threading. This first one here is for your brass sleeve, and then this one up here would be for your handle. You do want to take some care when screwing on the brass sleeve, and I'll show you how to do that here in a second. But this is your chassis. So I designed the chassis, but then I sent it out to get printed in SLS material. So this is kind of like what everybody's used to seeing from Shapeways, basically. All right. And then weathered it very, very mildly with a little bit of silver rub and buff just to bring out some of the details that I had. So you could see like over here it says Solo Sabers, and then it says Solo 3. All right, for the Saber itself. But yeah, 20 Neopixel accents under here. Another 20 under here. You're running a 28 millimeter Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker. You got your kill switch right there, and of course easy access to your SD card and your micro USB. I used one of these boards from KR Sabers because I think they're really cool. But yeah, you can get to your SD card and everything from here. No need to ever take this board off. All right. When we take the battery out, let me use my tweezers real quick. There were a ton of wires to do this thing, and then I hid them all. All right, so you're not going to see any wiring, no wiring on anything, and that was quite the feat. So I did glue the board down because there is a ton of wiring underneath there, but you shouldn't ever have to get to it anyway. All right, so I'm going to throw this battery in. We're going to go ahead and I'll just leave it in. Snaps right into place. There's your crystal chamber. See it all the way around. Now you can of course turn it on from here. Your two crystal chambers pulsing. One is pulsing and one's a heartbeat. I wanted them both to do something different, but everything's on the same timer, right? These two strips are wired in line with each other, so they will mirror each other, but they're different from the blade and the crystal chambers. We'll go ahead and turn that off so you get an idea of what it sounds like when everything's off. It sounds very different when the sleeve is on it. All right, so when putting on the sleeve, you will notice both sides are threaded. I threaded the wrong side by accident, but pay attention to whether or where your cutout is for your crystal chamber, because that is the one that obviously wants to go in first. And then just be careful when you're threading it on. If you feel like you're getting some resistance, back up and try it again, and just find a good, just find where it snaps in place, and then you can thread it on. It'll go on no problem. You don't want to force it though, because the threading is so thin, and this is brass, so it will eat up the brass threading if you're not careful. But with a little bit of care, you can put it right on. You won't have any problems. I put this thing on off and on probably 20 times, and every time it's been fine. If by some chance down the road you're finding that it's just getting too tough to put on, put a little bit of WD-40 on the threads, wipe it off, and it'll go on just no problem. All right, so now that we've got that sleeve on, turn the slide off, come back over here with the tweezers again, and flip the kill switch. So I made sure all the lighting was showing from outside of the sleeve, right? So we'll go ahead and put the handle on. There's only one sound font on here. It's the Apologize sound font. I know you're familiar with that one, so you can change it if you want. The reason I did one really is because I've got this one that Jesse made me, and I really like it. I like giving it out. But then also, this sound font's running 7 blade styles. All right, so if you go in there and you add fonts, I wanted you to have a config that was semi-easy to work with. So, the copy of the config files on the SD card. When you go to build your own, it goes in this order. It goes in this order. The first blade style will be your blade. The second one will be this crystal. The third one will be this crystal. And then the 20 Neopixel accents are broke out into 4 blades, right? So what will that be? It'll be the last. It'll be the first 5, the next 5, the next 5, and the next 5. So a total of 20 for that. All right, so that's how that goes in order. So everything timed out. We'll go ahead and come over here and hit power. When this sleeve is on, And this handle's on. The sleeve fully encloses the speaker, but then when this handle's on, this thing is pretty loud, and it's only up to 2,000. Turn it off, and we'll put a blade in. This is set up for a full-length blade. We'll go ahead and put like a, not my shorty blade, but we'll put this Bendu Armory blade in it. And lock it down. That's why I don't usually use this. I hit my ceiling, especially with a big saber. Good flash on flash. The blade lock up. Right here. And down to here. Blade lockup shows up in your crystal chambers. Very solid when everything's put together. Or however you want to swing this around, you shouldn't have any problem doing that. And we'll turn it off just like that. All right, take the blade out. And we'll flip the kill switch. I'll show you that the kill switch works real quick. Now I put this knurled thumb screw in here, but of course you can put any in here. That's an 832. This is drilled and tapped for an 832. So if you've got something else you'd rather use, you know, of course you can do that. So we'll take this handle off real quick. Go ahead and turn it on. And then come over here and flip the switch. And it kills everything just like it should. All right, so that's working. You can see how the speaker is fully enclosed with the sleeve on. So that's how that works. Go ahead and slap this back on. A couple things I'm going to include with this saber is this is the Solo Sabers artwork. No. When you and I had originally talked about doing this saber, I sat down one night while I was watching TV and was drawing up some different designs. This is the one I ultimately came up with that I wanted to build. I think it came out pretty close to what I had here, minus a few things. I didn't do the cutout for the battery at the last minute because I thought it was kind of gawky, but this was what I came up with for your saber. This is what I tried to build off of. So I'm just going to go ahead and send this to you. And then last but not least, somebody who's been a really good friend and a really good customer, Warren McKay, sent me 5 stands like this. He wouldn't let me pay for them. His only request was I gave them away with some of my builds. I thought that was super cool. There was a lot of time spent in these stands. They're made out of metal. They look like this. So it says Solo Sabers. They're hefty. So this goes on this plate right here. It just sits right on the back. It goes into this cutout. And then there's another cutout right over here. They go in like that. All right. And then, so it stands up like that. And then it also has multiple different stands for each side of the saber. And you can put them wherever you want here in these slots. They're different heights, so you can make it to fit your saber. So your saber is perfectly horizontal on this stand. So I really wanted to send you one of these and to also give a shout out to Warren for making these for me to do that, because that was super cool of him to do. All right, so I'll send you that. Send you that sweet artwork. It's not as sweet as that artwork, but it got the job done. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope that you like it. This was a lot of fun to build. I've been building this for quite some time, here and there in my spare time, and trying to refine my skills a little bit. And yeah, so thank you for letting me make this for you, and I hope that you enjoy it for years to come. Thanks.